Okay, so before this video starts, I just want to say my microphone kind of stopped working properly at the middle of me recording this video. I tried fixing it and I have recorded this about 5 times and I was getting tired. So you're just going to have to deal with the horrible, shitty audio of the camera and me holding my microphone like a dumbass. So yeah, that's that. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Hi, my name is Nev, and I am not very good at League of Legends. So I was playing League of Legends with one of my friends the other day. Just a chill game, to kind of just distract ourselves from the pain and existential dread of living. And we lost that game, and that only made our existential dread a lot higher. So when we lost, this friend told me, hey, you know what? I actually think that you die too much in League of Legends. And I was like, bitch, what? And I don't even know what he meant by that. Like, I don't even die that much in League. Like, I think he's just exaggerating, but fine. I am going to design something just for you, buddy, so you can stop bitching about me dying and take responsibility for your own fucking actions. I built a machine that will tase me every time I die in League of Legends. So there are some obvious first steps that I needed to take when starting building this taser thingy. And the first one is obviously, well, how do you trigger a taser without having to press a button? I had no idea how to do it, because if you remember correctly from my previous video, I know nothing about electronics. So I went to the obvious place, I went to the authority on creating taser machines, and I asked Michael Reeves.
Just get a little taser action on your hand. Holy shit! Oh my fucking god!
First, I started reviewing a couple of his videos. I picked up on something really interesting, and that is that he uses an electronic component called a relay.
Microcontrollers, relays. It tells an Arduino to open a relay.
But I have no fucking idea how relays worked at the time, so I just straight up asked him, hey, how the fuck do you connect the relay to the taser and make it activate? And this is what he responded.
Do you know how to trigger tasers with Arduino? I know you use relays, but is there any webpage that explains how to do it? You just touch, I mean, I shouldn't tell you, but if there's a button, the relay is now the button. Okay? There's a button, the relay is now the button.
So yeah, I simply have to replace this shitty button right here with this amazing component, which is a relay module. And the way this works is there's basically a coil inside this that when energized, it creates a magnetic field that closes a circuit on one of these pins. It's really straightforward and it's really simple to understand. So I needed to replace the button press with this. It was really basic stuff. However, there's just one slight problem. I bought the wrong fucking relay module. This relay module is a 12-volt relay that can be connected to your Arduino to trigger a circuit that requires up to 10 amps of current. And that's good and all, but the problem is that my Arduino can provide a maximum of 5 volts, which is obviously not enough when you're trying to feed a 12-volt relay. I try to research how to connect a 12-volt relay to a 5-volt Arduino, but all of the solutions used like external power sources or some sort of 9-volt battery, which I cannot be bothered fucking with. So yeah, turns out this thing is not really gonna do it. I actually needed to buy a 5-volt relay module, which they are widely available on electronic stores all around the world, except my fucking town. because my town is so shitty. I swear to God, I couldn't get a single 5-volt relay module, even though I searched the whole fucking town. Okay, so I just came back from like every electronics store that I could find downtown of the city, and not a single one of those electronic stores had any idea of what a relay is. I mean, I don't blame them. I'm pretty new to electronics, but you know, as an electronics store, I think you should have an idea of what a relay is. At the very end of it, I gave up. I went to the one electronics store that actually had 5-volt relays, not relay modules, relays. Let me show you the difference. So once again, this is the 12-volt relay module that I bought, and this right here is a 5-volt relay. As you can see, they are very different pieces of electronics. The main difference between these two is that this one is already equipped on this little board right here with all of the things that you need to make it work properly and not burn this component. It comes with a diode to control voltage spikes, because when the relay is activated and you stop energizing the coil, the magnetic field that the relay provides collapses, and it creates a spike in voltage that is really fucking high and could fry either your relay, your transistors, or even your Arduino. So this thing right here has like all of those safety measures to avoid this from getting fried. And this right here just doesn't. This is just like the pure relay component. But turns out you can actually plug this to your Arduino. It does take a little bit more work to do so, as you need to implement all of those safety measures by yourself. I had to learn a shit ton about electronic components that I didn't know, and I also had to kind of fight with the pain that is fearing that everything will suddenly just explode in your face, and sometimes having things explode in your face. The fuck is wrong with this? But I finally did it. If you want any sort of explanation, or you want to look at a circuit diagram, here it is right now on the screen. Yep, that's it. That's my circuit. Hey, it's time for me to show you the code. Now don't click away because the quality went down. Don't worry, it's not your Wi-Fi. I kind of lost my camera. Well, it's not lost, but I don't have it with me at the moment. So you're gonna have to bear with me using my phone to record this shit. I know, my microphone and my camera broke in the same video. What the fuck's life, right? I wanted to show you guys the code for this program because I think it is really interesting. Now, my software, what it attempts to do, what we basically want to do, is to look at the screen when we're playing League of Legends, take a screenshot, specifically on the part where we can find the score, the KDA of our champion, and then just take the deaths number out of that KDA score, right? So to do that, we're going to be using something called optical character recognition, or OCR for short. OCR is basically a series of processes and algorithms that require an image, like you feed that algorithm an image, and it will return what it thinks it sees on the screen in the form of text. We're just going to be using that for detecting when we die in League of Legends. So let's go to the code. Right here, this using windows.media.ocr is actually the thing that allows us to perform the OCR operations, and this is just like the library that we're using. There are other OCR libraries, like for example OpenCV, but I tried to implement them and it was kind of hard, and it was not really that accurate, so the Windows Media OCR library will do for us at the moment. This is like the default OCR library for Windows. Now, let's go to the program itself. We first have this variable here called tasing. It just controls whether or not you're getting tased. It's a Boolean variable, pretty straightforward. Now, we have this KDA variable, and don't let the name deceive you. This variable, as the comment says right here, this is actually the number of current deaths that the system has been detected. That's why it's really important to always comment your code, kids. And then we have the serial port, just, to control the Arduino. The initialize function just makes sure that the Arduino is running correctly, that it is on the correct port, that it's got the correct baud rate, all of that. And then we set the tasing variable to false, because of course you do not want to get tased as soon as this program starts. And we also set the KDA variable, which, remember, is the number of deaths, to the get new KDA function. Now, this is important to do at the beginning of the program because programs tend to crash sometimes. I'm not saying that this will crash, I'm saying that this could crash. So let's say you're in the middle of a game, you died once, you got tased, but then the program crashed, right? So you close the program, you reopen it again, but oh surprise, as we said right here, the KDA is equal to 0, and we're getting the new KDA in the main function, like right here we're getting the new KDA, and we're checking if it is bigger than the previous KDA. Well, it is indeed bigger than the previous KDA, and you will get tased when you reopen the program. That's not what we want, right? So it is really important that we initialize the KDA variable to what we're seeing at the moment in the screen. This is super important, so you don't get electrocuted right off the bat. Now let's get to the loop function. This is pretty straightforward, and it is where the magic happens, contrary to my room. So this loop function creates a variable called res, or result. We set that to 0, and then we start running an infinite loop. We set that result variable to the get new KDA function, which you might have noticed is also being passed as a parameter for this limit to range function. This limit to range function is nothing but a clamping function, okay? And the reason why we need this is, again, things tend to fail. The OCR library, no matter how robust, it's never going to be perfect, okay? And there are certain, instances on which it will maybe misread some characters, Like, for example, let's say you have died 7 times now, and the program is just constantly looking at that number, right? However, 7 in shape is pretty similar to 1 or to 4. So, the algorithm might get a little confused and maybe go from having 7 deaths to having 4 or having 1 death. And we know that's not possible. You cannot subtract to your deaths. You have died, period. Like, that stays there forever, right? So in order to make sure that does not happen, we are limiting the value of this result to the new value of the OCR library and the previous KDA value. That way we can actually make sure that if we get a value less than the previous KDA, we just return the previous KDA value. And this limit to range function is actually really simple. It's just this part right here. As you can see, it's just a very simple clamping function with an inclusive minimum. So yeah, nothing really too fancy there. And then we check if the result is equal to exactly the previous KDA plus 1. Now, why is this important? It is important because we want to make sure there's a linear progression and it's a constant progression, okay? We do not want, like, for example, you cannot have died 2 times and then in the next second have died 5 times, That's not really something that happens. You cannot die that often. I would love to see that on a t-shirt. You cannot die that often. Jesus fucking Christ. So we need to make sure that we always go up by just one. And once that is checked, then we actually trigger the taser and we set the previous KDA to the new KDA. So this is just basically saying, hey, once we have minimized all of the errors that this shit could have, then we actually do the thing, right? We actually activate the taser. Because again, there's always a margin of error with these things. And you want to reduce that as much as possible in software. Especially when your fucking software will induce physical pain on you. I think that is really important because I do appreciate my life a lot. Then we print the number of deaths to the screen. There's no really big deal right there. And if the tasing variable is true, then we tase the shit out of you. Which is just basically writing a 1 to the Arduino, and the Arduino will interpret that 1 as opening the relay, and therefore triggering the taser. And last but not least, definitely not least, we set the tasing variable to false. This is for us to avoid tasing you like for the rest of your life. Which, if you really think about it, if we're already tasing you continuously, it's not going to be a very long time. That's the code. And I think that this is just as close to a perfect system of this kind, of course, that I could build. This is the most accurate thing I can produce that will ensure that when I die in League of Legends, I get shocked. And you really want to reduce that margin of error because, again, it's my ass that is on the line with this fucking program. Now I'm gonna show you guys just very quickly the Arduino code for this. It's very simple, but I think it would be good if I show you just to tell you a couple of things. Oh, spoilers for the next video. Okay, here's the Arduino code. As you can see, it is very simple. We're just defining the pin, setting it to high when we need it to be high, setting it to low when we need it to be low. But what I really want to talk about is this delay right here. This delay function with 250 milliseconds. This is the amount of time by which the taser is going to be on. And therefore, I am going to be shocked by that taser. I am probably going to change that number. I am probably going to change this. Because 250 hurts a shit ton. I find 100 or 150 to be quite comfortable. It still hurts a lot, but I am very sensible to pain. So 100 to 150 should do it just fine. This being said, I tested this system for the first time with my cousin. And we set this to 1,500 milliseconds. And this was his reaction. Alright, so we're testing the taser thingy for the first time, and I have to make this really weird connection. It's gonna be strapped to my cousin right there. He's gonna be playing support, I'm gonna be playing ADC, and he's gonna try to make me not die, and if not, he's gonna get tased. And he's got an aluminum tape just right there in his fucking knee. It's really weird. Don't try this at home. Yeah, so that's that.
Es el... No te acerques a mí, pendejo,
Es lo más preocupado que jamás has estado por una vez en tu vida.
Sobre todo porque generalmente ni juego sub. Chaléjate de mi pincha de ese perro pendeja. Ahí está.
Dude. Y que termine la partida sin morir.
A ver, vamos al Drake, güey. Ya con esas culo.
Bueno, vamos al Drake. Ahí voy.
¿Qué pedo? Utilicé esa R hace media hora, güey.
Sí, es que... No. Aquí. Ojo el taser. Ojo el taser.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Puta madre. Oh, la mierda.
¿Estás bien?
Güey, lo sentí hasta mi brazo.
¿Estás bien?
Sí.
¿Quieres que lo reduzca el tiempo por el cual Sí, o sea, pero es que sea peligroso.
Un poquito, güey.
¡Ah! ¡No! ¡No! ¡No!
Puta madre, voy.
Bajo los milisegundos.
Bajar el chingado montaje a los milisegundos, me vale madre.
No se le puede bajar el voltaje.
Ah, tu puta madre, güey.
¿O quieres ya quitártelo?
Dale al surrender mejor, cabrón.
No, esto maneja.
No, no llego, güey. Si tienes el cocoon, tal vez sí. Bueno, nice, flash. Ya, flasheo con eso. Podemos hacer dragón,
Simón. Oh, cata.
Oh, shit.
Voy. Voy.
¡Nice! ¡Ahora era la First Blood!
Voy.
No mames.
Voy. Peleen.
No tengo maná, güey. Es el jodido pedo. Ay, le robó un niño del carcho, bro.
No veo dónde está la B, pero...
Voy a aprovechar que el Nef está ahí para meter visión. Pues nos agarramos un malpet salvaje. Flasheo. Nice. No, síganme.
¡No!
La ulti.
¿Por qué le diste una kill a mi ADC, mijo?
Pues no sé por qué estoy. Yo nomás con el flash me he ido contento, güey. Tenemos prioridad para dragón. En hermano.
Ah, tiene guardado acá.
Tiene guardeado seguro. Pero creo que está guardeado afuera, güey.
No, se me hace que se guardado.
No, porque no viene dentro del bush, güey. Según yo está guardeado afuera. El Malphite tiene ulti, tengo 300 segundos. Tiene ulti, tengo 300 segundos. Me potenciaron a mí. Podemos intentar
mames.
matar la bot, güey. Y que el Nef haga Drake, güey.
Okay, I'm not gonna restart it right now because same thing could happen. So we're just gonna wait until the next death or assist or whatever.